to my balcony garden. In today's episode we've got quite a lot happening. We're going to explore all of the plants I'm growing here in June. Alba is going to be a little opportunist. We are going to dig up some Dahlia tubers. We're then going to plant some tulips at the very end of the season, and we'll explore lots of different things that you could be growing in containers. Now it's time to dig up the dahlias. Albert desperately wanted to help. I left the dahlias until after the first frost and let them die back because the energy should go back towards the tubers to create more tubers for the next season. And the first thing that you want to do is cut back all of that excess growth. This makes it easier to dig up and pull up the dahlia tubers. As we dig up the tubers, it's really important to not go too close to the base because you don't want to damage them. So just do it ever so lightly and brush off the soil as you go. This was my first time digging dahlia tubers up, and I'm so excited to see how many little tubers are in there. Aren't they just so cool? Here's round 2, the second bunch of tubers. Now, a lot of people say that you can divide them first, or you can wait and divide them after you've stored them before you plant them out. I've decided to just leave them as is when I store them, and then when it comes time to plant them again, that's when I will divide them, maybe. Otherwise, I might not. I might just leave them and plant them like this. Tell me in the comments what you would suggest if you've grown dahlias before. I actually posted a YouTube short on this recently, and I think it's pretty cool because once you have your first dahlia tuber, you should technically never have to buy dahlias again, and they will just keep multiplying every season, so it's actually a really good investment. And it's awesome that you can plant them in your gardens or in containers or pots. So let's leave this to dry now for a few days. And on to planting the tulip bulbs. If you watched a video of mine a little while back, you can see when I planted my first round of tulips. Now I wanted to plant these ones, which is the red Saigon tulip and the double tulip, which I think looks so beautiful and very, very different. I wanted to have a whole variety of different types of tulips to grow in the garden this season. My goal is for the balcony garden to look vibrant and so full of colour come spring. So stay tuned and come back to see the garden tours in spring. It's funny, I had never really been interested in growing flowers. I had always wanted to just grow my own food. And I started to realize that, one, having flowers helps attract more beneficial insects and bees into your garden, which helps get more food. But also, it's just so beautiful, and I buy a lot of flowers myself. So if I could grow them, it means I don't have to buy them, and it will also make the garden look beautiful. So I'm really, really excited to see how they come along. I believe these bulbs come from a farm called Druitt's Bulbs, or Druitt's Farm, which I will link down below. They are a Victorian-based tulip provider, and I love supporting local flowers or local growers. So definitely check them out if you do live in Australia and you want to buy something a bit more local. I also did way more research. So the first time that I planted tulips, and you'll see in one of my previous videos, I spaced them out because that's what the instructions said to do. Then I started researching more and more YouTubers on how to grow tulips, and I started to realize that they actually look far more beautiful and they grow just as well when you space them closer together in a small pot. So that's what I'm doing here, and I cannot wait to see the end result, so I'll definitely show you guys come spring. I think that's the same for a lot of flowers and vegetables. You don't always have to listen to the spacing rules. Obviously do it the first time round to see how you go, but once you get a little bit more confident, you can start to experiment, and that's what I love about gardening. It's kind of like cooking. The first time you cook a meal, you want to follow the recipe just to make sure you do it right, and then you can start being a bit more creative and putting your own flair into it, and that's how I feel about gardening. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's quite fun that way. If you're new here, by the way, please in the comments say hello. Let me know about how your gardening journey is going. Are you a beginner gardener, or have you been gardening for a while? I love to meet other gardeners on this platform. If you're curious to know why I have this weird cage or barrier in my garden, it is because of Alba. She is still going through her teenage years, and as you can see when she drank my smoothie, she is a naughty little thing and will try and get into anything she's not supposed to get into. So until she grows out of that, we have this ugly looking cage to keep her out of trouble. Thanks for watching, friends, and tell me in the comments below, what are you growing at the moment in your garden? And don't forget to subscribe for more gardening tips.